Hello, my name is Sarah Scrivener. I am doing this audio recording, Intersectionality 2020, the audio, for Com 300 with Bjorn Ingolstad. And this is an essay I wrote for that class. It was prompt 1, being an anti-racist using an intersectional approach. And so in this essay, I read Kendi's How to Be an Anti-Racist. The definition of gender racism is defined as a strong collection of racist policies that are based off of ideas regarding the intersectionality of race and gender. So Kendi in the book talks about using an intersectional approach. What is that? For example, he talks about Black women and the issues and experiences they have gone through. Regarding the Black feminist approach, it only peaked recently in 1991 when U.S. Supreme Court nominee Anita Hill accused Clarence Thomas of sexual harassment. Black feminism, gender racism, and intersectionality involve an approach, which requires an understanding of the intersections between two privileges of race and gender as a whole. An experiment that was done was by Afro-Dutch scholar Philomena Essed, which she did a project that would help define the intersectionality of being Black and a woman. She conducted a series of interviews with Black women in the United States and the Netherlands. These interviews, which she published in a book, Understanding Everyday Racism, prove that gendered racism exists. Gender racism is best defined as powerful policies that lead to inequities between subcategories of race and gender, and they are further confirmed by racist ideas and policies. Women are a gender, and Black people are a race, so when we are talking about Black women, we are talking about a race gender. By now, the concept of intersectionality works is by understanding that Black people are not just one group. Besides being Black and female, you could be Black and disabled, Black and part of the LGBT community, and even Black and lower class. Using this concept of intersectionality means basically to reject what you've been taught, educate yourself on what intersectionality means, and to recognize that while non-Black folks fitting into those marginalized groups need your help, you need to start with the Black intersectional groups first. And intersectionality involves fighting for those intersectional groups that are the minorities. But the thing is, you can be a feminist, but be a racist, vice versa. Black women are women in Black, for example, and in the same matter, you can't advocate for equity and racial justice for Black people but not support women's rights. Using the intersectional approach means using your privilege as a white woman, or even a white man, and fighting for justice and basic human rights for those minorities. Understanding intersections between privileges is a gateway to being able to understand oppression for minorities. So basically how I describe intersectionality, well, I think of it as a Venn diagram. I imagine white people in the outer circles of the marginalized groups. Black people fit into the spaces where the circles, or the marginalized groups for that instance, overlap each other. As you can see, like, you've probably seen a Venn diagram. There are very small spaces, those intersections, which is the point. The big question one would wonder is, what is the point? The answer is to start using our privilege to fight for the rights of others who don't have those same privileges, starting with those small spaces that overlap. If one didn't start from the center, then you couldn't get to the outer circles and notice that the general white population of those marginalized groups need help too. So we have to fight for those lower on society's hierarchy before we reach the top. So, in conclusion, an anti-racist uses their privilege to fight for the rights of the overlaps of the Venn diagram example I just provided. For example, to fight against long prison sentences for Black women and men due to a wrongful conviction. White women and men only really spend a month or two in prison, as you've seen on the news, or walk free due to a charge like murder or rape. For example, Black people usually get like several decades compared to those white men and women that basically either spend just a bit of time in prison or they walk free. Believe it or not, gender racism also contributed to the involuntary sterilization of black women due to the stereotype that black women are hypersexualized. So, in closing, the intersectional approach is a good one. It will take time, as many concepts of humanity do, but you can start by educating yourself on what it means to be a gender racist and start putting those principles to good use and apply them to social policies. Kenny's book is a good one, How to Be an Anti-Racist. In conclusion, it's informative and encourages the reader to hold an anti-racist approach to the world, which sees all groups as a collection of intersectional identities. Thank you.